Hello everybody, this is Gareth Cahoon Speaks back here with another video. I'd like you to hit the subscribe bar or give me a thumbs up if you like the content, or hit the notification bell to be notified when I post my next post. Or otherwise you can look me up at my website, which is www.garethcahoon.co.uk. Or if you'd like to support the ministry, you can do so through PayPal, garethcahoon3@gmail.com. This one is about Israeli commandos. Israel Nabs, senior Muslim Brotherhood terror leader in overnight IDF commando raid in Lebanese territory. The Lebanese Prime Minister decries Israel's strikes against Hezbollah as assault on our sovereignty on civilian lives. The picture above my head is Israeli soldiers from the Paratroopers Brigade during training drills in January 2026. Israeli troops captured a senior terror leader and transferred him to Israel in an overnight raid within Lebanese territory, the Israeli Defense Forces announced Monday morning. The IDF said that the terrorist was a senior leader from the Jamaah Islamiyah, as Islamist terrorist organisation that serves as a Lebanese branch of the Muslim Brotherhood and has close ties to Hamas, with whom Israel troops have clashed repeatedly in recent weeks. The terrorist was apprehended and then transferred for further questioning into Israeli territory. Additional weapons were located in the same structure in which the terrorists were apprehended. The military stated the unusual commando raid in the Mount Dove region, several kilometres within the enemy territory, comes as the IDF continues to conduct airstrikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon on an almost daily basis, despite claims by the Lebanese government that its military forces have removed the group's presence south of the Litani River. The IDF stressed that the Jamaah Islamiyah terrorist organisation advanced terror attacks against the state of Israel and its civilians in the north throughout the war. Its military arm, the Farj forces, assisted Hezbollah in the fighting. According to the Hezbollah affiliated Al Akbar newspaper, Israel Special Forces infiltrated the village, broke into the suspect's home, arrested him and detained his wife, and confiscated documents from his home before bringing him back to Israel. Israel's army radio reported that the military operation lasted from Sunday evening until the early morning hours of Monday. The IDF abducted the terror leader for interrogation in order to improve intelligence on the group, which has operated against Israel from Lebanon as well as from Syria. Last November, 6 Israeli soldiers were wounded during a raid to arrest two Jamaah Islamiyah terrorists in South Syrian village of Bet Jin. The IDF believed the group is planning more attacks against Israel. Several hours after the raid, the IDF struck a Hezbollah terrorist driving in a car in the Junoon Jat area in southern Lebanon. In response to Hezbollah's repeated violations of the ceasefire understandings, the IDF said he served as Hezbollah's local artillery commander and carried out numerous terror attacks and was in the process of restoring its artillery capabilities intended for attacks in Israel from within the civilian population in Lebanon. The military noted it was aware of the claim that uninvolved civilians were killed after Lebanese media reported that a small child was in a vehicle prior to the strike. Steps were taken to mitigate harm to civilians, including the use of precise munitions and aerial surveillance. The IDF regrets any harm to uninvolved civilians and operates to minimise harm as much as possible. The incident is under review. On Monday morning, Bassam Mahmoud, deputy head of the Jamaah Islamiyah's political bureau, told Al Arabi TV that the captured leader is the senior member Ataway. The group also accused Israel of conducting the operation in response to Lebanese Prime Minister Nawaf Salam's visit to villages in southern Lebanon on Sunday, claiming that Israel intended to demonstrate control over the area. Hamoud called the raid a Zionist pirate act and said Israel had entered a phase of kidnapping Lebanese civilians. Salem had also accused Israel of continuous attacks during his first tour of the border village, many of which had been used by Hezbollah as bases and were devastated by Israeli airstrikes during the war. Most have still not been reconstructed. The Lebanese Prime Minister said Israel continued strikes against Hezbollah constitutes an assault on our sovereignty, on civilian lives, and on the people's right to live in peace. However, However, the state's presence here today is a message in the face of this reality. It's a message is that the extension of the state's authority is not completed solely by the deployment of the army and its control over the ground, but rather that the state's sovereignty is also a responsibility towards the people and their problems. Over the weekend, Lebanese media reported that the commander of the Lebanese Armed Forces, the LAF, General Rodolphe Hakal, travelled to Saudi Arabia after visiting the United States last week. The LAF has repeatedly cited a lack of funding and remains reliant on donor nations, primarily the United States. Hakal reported met with several White House advisors, officials from the US Department of Defense and State, members of the Senate and House of Representatives, the National Security Council, and military and security officials. However, US Senator Lindsey Graham said he walked out of a meeting with Hakal after the Hakal refused to call Hezbollah a terror group. Writing an X, Graham said he asked point blank if he believes Hezbollah is a terrorist organisation. He said no in the context of Lebanon. With that, I ended the meeting, he added, adding, as long as this attitude exists from the Lebanese armed forces, I don't think we have a reliable partner in them. Lebanese media reported that Haikal's visit to Saudi Arabia was intended to brief Saudi leadership on his trip to the United States and to prepare for the Paris conference scheduled for March, which aims to raise additional funds for the LAF. The Saudi leadership has signalled support for the new Lebanese government and its military. You see, the reason that Israel's having to go in and bomb southern Lebanon is because Israel made an agreement with Lebanon and, unfortunately, with Hezbollah. All Israel asked was that they stayed to the south of the river, and in constant incursions, Hezbollah has travelled to the other side of the river and started setting up camps, which is next to Israel's borders, and that's just something that Israel isn't going to accept, especially not after what happened on October 7th. So there's two ways of looking at this. If Hezbollah was to do what was right and stay where they were supposed to, there would have been no bombing of Lebanon or the Hezbollah factions beyond the Litani River. Shalom, Maranatha.